Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Explorer, where curiosity finds its rest and the world's most compelling mysteries unfold at a whisper. Tonight, we're journeying to a place that has long guarded its secrets from the world, a continent of such profound and untouched silence that it seems to exist on another plane entirely. Antarctica, a land of endless ice and ancient cold. But what if the frozen expanse we see is only the first layer of a truth so vast it could rewrite our understanding of history and the very planet beneath our feet? Tonight we don't just explore the surface. We will slowly, deliberately descend into the impossible. We will consider the relics that should not exist, the creatures that defy our understanding, and the hidden landscapes that lie waiting beneath a silence so deep it almost feels like a promise. Prepare yourselves, for we are about to ask what lies beneath Antarctica's ice. Imagine a place of such profound and absolute quiet that the sound of your own breath becomes a loud interruption. A place so vast it dwarfs entire continents, and so pristine that every surface remains as it has for millennia, untouched by the hand of humanity. This is not a landscape from a dream, but the stark, quiet reality of Antarctica. It is the fifth largest continent on our planet, an immense landmass covering nearly 5.5 million square miles. To put that into perspective, Antarctica is almost double the size of Australia and roughly 1.5 times the size of the United States. It's a continent of such incredible scale that it often feels more like a world of its own, an almost mythological realm of ice. It is also, in its truest sense, the planet's largest and most complete wilderness. Unlike any other continent, Antarctica has no native human population, no permanent cities, and no indigenous people. It is governed not by a single nation, but by an international treaty that designates it a natural reserve devoted to peace and science. This has kept it in a state of unparalleled preservation, a pure and unblemished environment. Here, the only signs of human presence are the scattered scientific research stations, small outposts of curiosity in a sea of overwhelming natural power. The silence here is not just an absence of sound. It's a presence, a deep and ancient quiet that hums with the energy of the planet's most untouched corner. This wilderness is defined by its ice. The ice sheet that blankets nearly 98% of the continent is not a thin layer, but a colossal, monumental force. Its average thickness is over 1.2 miles, and in some places it reaches a staggering 3 miles deep. This isn't just frozen water. It's a geological feature so massive that its weight has actually pushed the underlying landmass down below sea level. This single, immense sheet of ice holds within it an unimaginable volume of frozen water, a volume so great it contains approximately 70% of the world's fresh water and over 90% of its ice. It is a vast frozen vault, a natural archive of Earth's past. The climate is as extreme as the scale. Antarctica holds the record for the lowest temperature ever recorded on Earth, a chilling 128.6 degrees Celsius at the Vostok Research Station. It is the coldest, windiest, and driest continent, a polar desert where snowfall is minimal and conditions are so harsh that life struggles to find a foothold. Yet this very harshness is what has kept it so perfectly preserved. The relentless cold and isolating blizzards have acted as a shield, ensuring that what lies beneath the surface remains hidden and intact, undisturbed by time. It's a land where time feels frozen, where every gust of wind seems to whisper of an ancient past, patiently waiting to be discovered. This profound isolation and the extreme conditions make every piece of Antarctica's history a precious treasure, perfectly sealed within a cold that has long guarded its secrets from the world. The presence of liquid water in the deep darkness of Antarctica is one of the most remarkable discoveries of our time. But what truly captures the imagination is the thought that this water is not empty. Within these sealed subterranean oceans separated from the sun and the atmosphere for eons, life may not only be possible, it may be thriving. This is the domain of the extremophiles, unique organisms that exist at the very edge of what we thought was possible for life to endure. The conditions within a subglacial lake like Vostok are hostile in the extreme. Imagine a world of absolute, unyielding darkness, a blackness so complete that it has never been penetrated by a single ray of sunlight. The pressure here is crushing, equivalent to being at the very bottom of the ocean's deepest trenches. And the water, though liquid, is perpetually on the brink of freezing, with an icy stillness that has not been disturbed for millions of years. And yet, in this impossible world, the seeds of life may be found. Scientists theorize that any life forms in these lakes would not rely on photosynthesis, as there is no light. Instead, they would be chemotrophs, drawing energy from the chemical reactions of their environment. They would feed on the dissolved minerals from the rock bed, or perhaps on gases like methane and hydrogen. Their existence would be a quiet, constant, slow process of converting geological energy into biological life, a testament to the sheer resilience of nature. The organisms that have been found in the ice cores above these lakes, just as scientists were drilling down, provide a hint of what may be below. Samples of the ancient ice have revealed psychrophilic bacteria, cold-loving microbes that have remained frozen in suspended animation for hundreds of thousands of years. When thawed and provided with nutrients, these organisms, which have been dormant since the Ice Age, have come back to life, a ghostly echo of a forgotten era. It is a stunning discovery, suggesting that life has a tenacity we are only beginning to understand. But the life in the lake itself, if it exists, would be even more alien. It would be a world of piezophiles, pressure-loving organisms that have evolved to live and thrive under the immense weight of the ice. Their cellular structures would be unlike anything we've seen, their biology perfectly adapted to a high-pressure environment. It is possible they would be completely colorless, as pigments for light absorption would be useless. Instead, they might communicate through chemical signals or react to subtle changes in pressure. We might imagine a world of strange, translucent creatures, their forms shaped by forces we cannot comprehend. The search for this life in the deep is not just about fulfilling our curiosity, it has profound implications for the search for life beyond Earth. As we look outward with our telescopes and probes, we find that some of the most promising places for extraterrestrial life are moons with subsurface oceans, such as Jupiter's moon, Europa, or Saturn's moon, Enceladus. These worlds are also frozen on the outside with liquid water beneath a crust of ice. If life can exist in the harsh, dark, and pressured environment of Antarctica's lakes, it raises the incredible possibility that similar ecosystems could be thriving on those distant, alien worlds. So, as we continue to drill into the deep Antarctic ice, we are not just searching for geological data. We are performing a planetary-scale experiment, asking whether life is merely a product of sunlight, or if it is a fundamental property of the universe, capable of finding a way to exist in even the most isolated and hostile corners of the cosmos. The answer, if we ever find it, may change our place in the universe forever. The presence of liquid water in the deep darkness of Antarctica is one of the most remarkable discoveries of our time. But what truly captures the imagination is the thought that this water is not empty. Within these sealed subterranean oceans separated from the sun and the atmosphere for eons, life may not only be possible, it may be thriving. This is the domain of the extremophiles, unique organisms that exist at the very edge of what we thought was possible for life to endure. The conditions within a subglacial lake like Vostok are hostile in the extreme. Imagine a world of absolute, unyielding darkness, a blackness so complete that it has never been penetrated by a single ray of sunlight. The pressure here is crushing, equivalent to being at the very bottom of the ocean's deepest trenches. And the water, though liquid, is perpetually on the brink of freezing, with an icy stillness that has not been disturbed for millions of years. And yet, in this impossible world, the seeds of life may be found. Scientists theorize that any life forms in these lakes would not rely on photosynthesis, as there is no light. Instead, they would be chemotrophs, drawing energy from the chemical reactions of their environment. They would feed on the dissolved minerals from the rock bed, or perhaps on gases like methane and hydrogen. Their existence would be a quiet, constant, slow process of converting geological energy into biological life, a testament to the sheer resilience of nature. The organisms that have been found in the ice cores above these lakes, just as scientists were drilling down, provide a hint of what may be below. Samples of the ancient ice have revealed psychrophilic bacteria, cold-loving microbes that have remained frozen in suspended animation for hundreds of thousands of years. When thawed and provided with nutrients, these organisms, which have been dormant since the Ice Age, have come back to life, a ghostly echo of a forgotten era. It is a stunning discovery, suggesting that life has a tenacity we are only beginning to understand. But the life in the lake itself, if it exists, would be even more alien. It would be a world of piezophiles, pressure-loving organisms that have evolved to live and thrive under the immense weight of the ice. Their cellular structures would be unlike anything we've seen, their biology perfectly adapted to a high-pressure environment. It is possible they would be completely colorless, as pigments for light absorption would be useless. Instead, they might communicate through chemical signals or react to subtle changes in pressure. We might imagine a world of strange, translucent creatures, their forms shaped by forces we cannot comprehend. The search for this life in the deep is not just about fulfilling our curiosity. It has profound implications for the search for life beyond Earth. As we look outward with our telescopes and probes, we find that some of the most promising places for extraterrestrial life are moons with subsurface oceans, such as Jupiter's moon, Europa, or Saturn's moon, Enceladus. These worlds are also frozen on the outside with liquid water beneath a crust of ice. If life can exist in the harsh, dark, and pressured environment of Antarctica's lakes, it raises the incredible possibility that similar ecosystems could be thriving on those distant, alien worlds. So, as we continue to drill into the deep Antarctic ice, we are not just searching for geological data. We are performing a planetary-scale experiment, asking whether life is merely a product of sunlight, or if it is a fundamental property of the universe, capable of finding a way to exist in even the most isolated and hostile corners of the cosmos. The answer, if we ever find it, may change our place in the universe forever. The presence of liquid water in the deep darkness of Antarctica is one of the most remarkable discoveries of our time. But what truly captures the imagination is the thought that this water is not empty. Within these sealed subterranean oceans separated from the sun and the atmosphere for eons, life may not only be possible, it may be thriving. This is the domain of the extremophiles, unique organisms that exist at the very edge of what we thought was possible for life to endure. The conditions within a subglacial lake like Vostok are hostile in the extreme. Imagine a world of absolute, unyielding darkness, a blackness so complete that it has never been penetrated by a single ray of sunlight. The pressure here is crushing, equivalent to being at the very bottom of the ocean's deepest trenches. And the water, though liquid, is perpetually on the brink of freezing, with an icy stillness that has not been disturbed for millions of years. And yet, in this impossible world, the seeds of life may be found. Scientists theorize that any life forms in these lakes would not rely on photosynthesis, as there is no light. Instead, they would be chemotrophs, drawing energy from the chemical reactions of their environment. They would feed on the dissolved minerals from the rock bed, or perhaps on gases like methane and hydrogen. Their existence would be a quiet constant, slow process of converting geological energy into biological life, a testament to the sheer resilience of nature. The organisms that have been found in the ice cores above these lakes, just as scientists were drilling down, provide a hint of what may be below. Samples of the ancient ice have revealed psychrophilic bacteria, cold-loving microbes that have remained frozen in suspended animation for hundreds of thousands of years. When thawed and provided with nutrients, these organisms, which have been dormant since the Ice Age, have come back to life, a ghostly echo of a forgotten era. It is a stunning discovery, suggesting that life has a tenacity we are only beginning to understand. But the life in the lake itself, if it exists, would be even more alien. It would be a world of piezophiles, pressure-loving organisms that have evolved to live and thrive under the immense weight of the ice. Their cellular structures would be unlike anything we've seen, their biology perfectly adapted to a high-pressure environment. It is possible they would be completely colorless, as pigments for light absorption would be useless. Instead, they might communicate through chemical signals or react to subtle changes in pressure. We might imagine a world of strange, translucent creatures, their forms shaped by forces we cannot comprehend. The search for this life in the deep is not just about fulfilling our curiosity. It has profound implications for the search for life beyond Earth. As we look outward with our telescopes and probes, we find that some of the most promising places for extraterrestrial life are moons with subsurface oceans, such as Jupiter's moon, Europa, or Saturn's moon, Enceladus. These worlds are also frozen on the outside with liquid water beneath a crust of ice. If life can exist in the harsh, dark and pressured environment of Antarctica's lakes, it raises the incredible possibility that similar ecosystems could be thriving on those distant, alien worlds. So, as we continue to drill into the deep Antarctic ice, we are not just searching for geological data, we are performing a planetary-scale experiment, asking whether life is merely a product of sunlight, or if it is a fundamental property of the universe, capable of finding a way to exist in even the most isolated and hostile corners of the cosmos. The answer, if we ever find it, may change our place in the universe forever. The presence of liquid water in the deep darkness of Antarctica is one of the most remarkable discoveries of our time. But what truly captures the imagination is the thought that this water is not empty. Within these sealed subterranean oceans separated from the sun and the atmosphere for eons, life may not only be possible, it may be thriving. This is the domain of the extremophiles, unique organisms that exist at the very edge of what we thought was possible for life to endure. The conditions within a subglacial lake like Vostok are hostile in the extreme. Imagine a world of absolute, unyielding darkness, a blackness so complete that it has never been penetrated by a single ray of sunlight. The pressure here is crushing, equivalent to being at the very bottom of the ocean's deepest trenches. And the water, though liquid, is perpetually on the brink of freezing, with an icy stillness that has not been disturbed for millions of years. And yet, in this impossible world, the seeds of life may be found. Scientists theorize that any life forms in these lakes would not rely on photosynthesis, as there is no light. Instead, they would be chemotrophs, drawing energy from the chemical reactions of their environment. They would feed on the dissolved minerals from the rock bed, or perhaps on gases like methane and hydrogen. Their existence would be a quiet, constant, slow process of converting geological energy into biological life, a testament to the sheer resilience of nature. The organisms that have been found in the ice cores above these lakes, just as scientists were drilling down, provide a hint of what may be below. Samples of the ancient ice have revealed psychrophilic bacteria, cold-loving microbes that have remained frozen in suspended animation for hundreds of thousands of years. When thawed and provided with nutrients, these organisms, which have been dormant since the Ice Age, have come back to life, a ghostly echo of a forgotten era. It is a stunning discovery, suggesting that life has a tenacity we are only beginning to understand. But the life in the lake itself, if it exists, would be even more alien. It would be a world of piezophiles, pressure-loving organisms that have evolved to live and thrive under the immense weight of the ice. Their cellular structures would be unlike anything we've seen, their biology perfectly adapted to a high-pressure environment. It is possible they would be completely colorless, as pigments for light absorption would be useless. Instead, they might communicate through chemical signals or react to subtle changes in pressure. We might imagine a world of strange, translucent creatures, their forms shaped by forces we cannot comprehend. The search for this life in the deep is not just about fulfilling our curiosity. It has profound implications for the search for life beyond Earth. As we look outward with our telescopes and probes, we find that some of the most promising places for extraterrestrial life are moons with subsurface oceans, such as Jupiter's moon, Europa, or Saturn's moon, Enceladus. These worlds are also frozen on the outside with liquid water beneath a crust of ice. If life can exist in the harsh, dark and pressured environment of Antarctica's lakes, it raises the incredible possibility that similar ecosystems could be thriving on those distant, alien worlds. So, as we continue to drill into the deep Antarctic ice, we are not just searching for geological data, we are performing a planetary-scale experiment, asking whether life is merely a product of sunlight, or if it is a fundamental property of the universe, capable of finding a way to exist in even the most isolated and hostile corners of the cosmos. The answer, if we ever find it, may change our place in the universe forever. If the vast, frozen landscape of Antarctica holds the blueprints of a silent, slow history, then the Eltanin impact is a sudden, violent exclamation point on that timeline. It is a moment of profound cosmic drama that unfolded just off the continent's coast, a catastrophic event that may have had a deeper and more lasting impact than we can possibly imagine. The Eltanin impact refers to the collision of a massive asteroid with Earth's deep ocean. It is a unique event, as it is the only known instance of a kilometer-sized object striking a deep ocean basin. The event occurred approximately 2.51 million years ago during a pivotal moment in Earth's climate history, at the boundary between the Pliocene and Pleistocene epochs. The asteroid itself is estimated to have been between 1 and 4 kilometers in diameter, a mountain-sized rock hurtling through space. It did not create a terrestrial crater as it struck a part of the Pacific Ocean that is over 3 miles deep. The asteroid was essentially vaporized in a colossal explosion of water and rock. The immediate consequences of this deep ocean strike would have been immense and terrifying. Instead of creating a simple crater, the impact would have blasted a massive cavity in the water column, instantly vaporizing a colossal amount of seawater. This would have generated a mega tsunami of unimaginable scale. Some models suggest waves hundreds of meters high, a force powerful enough to sweep across the coastlines of Antarctica, South America, and beyond. This would not have been a slow, creeping wave, but a wall of water traveling at incredible speeds, an unstoppable force of nature that would have crashed into the ice shelves and coastal areas of Antarctica. The sediment record on the seafloor shows a chaotic mix of materials from different geological eras, a signature of the massive disturbance created by this event. But the effect of the Eltanin impact was likely more than just a momentary disaster. The collision would have sent enormous quantities of water vapor, sea salt, and dust high into the stratosphere, where it could have remained for years. This material would have acted like a global veil, reflecting sunlight and causing a sudden, dramatic drop in global temperatures. At the time of the impact, Earth was already in a gradual cooling phase, leading into the Ice Ages. The Eltanin strike may have been the final decisive trigger, a cosmic event that hurried Earth into the cycle of glaciations that has defined our climate ever since. It's a staggering thought. A single object from space may have been responsible for turning a temperate continent into the frozen world we know today. Beyond the scientific theories, some have speculated on an even deeper connection. If, as some believe, an ancient civilization or hidden technology was present on the continent at that time, what would an event of this magnitude mean for them? A mega tsunami of that scale could have swept away coastal settlements or flooded deep sub-ice tunnels with seawater. The massive disruption could have been a deliberate act to wipe the slate clean, a cosmic reset button, or simply an unfortunate accident that buried and preserved a secret history forever. The Eltanin impact, though largely forgotten by popular history because of its lack of a visible crater, remains a powerful and mysterious force. Its existence is a silent reminder that Antarctica's history is not just a tale of slow, natural change, but also one of sudden, explosive moments that have shaped it in ways we are only now beginning to comprehend. The echoes of that single moment, 2.5 million years ago, may still be present in the deep quiet of the ice, a lingering hum from a world-changing event. For those who seek clues of a hidden past in the archives of history, few artifacts are as puzzling as the Piri Reis map. This is not a story of geology or science, but of ink on gazelle skin parchment, a fragment of a world map created in 1513 by a renowned Ottoman admiral and cartographer named Piri Reis. The map itself is a marvel of its time, combining information from 20 different sources, including a now-lost map from Christopher Columbus. While the map's depiction of the Caribbean and South American coastlines is remarkably accurate for its era, it is a strange, curved landmass at the very bottom that has captivated the world's imagination. This is the Piri Reis anomaly. The land depicted there appears to show a coastline that is not part of South America, and some believe it to be the coast of Antarctica. This claim is deeply unsettling because Antarctica was not officially discovered until 1820, more than 300 years after this map was drawn. The puzzle grows more complex when we consider the specifics of the alleged Antarctic coastline. Proponents of the theory, most notably the late historian and college professor Charles Hapgood, argue that the map doesn't just show Antarctica, but it depicts the continent as it would have looked without its ice sheet, a condition that hasn't existed for at least 6,000 years and possibly much longer. Hapgood's work, which included a foreword by Albert Einstein, suggested that the source maps for this section must have been created by an ancient, highly advanced civilization with the knowledge of global surveying and cartography. The thought is that this civilization somehow mapped the world during an earlier period, and their knowledge was passed down through a chain of forgotten documents, eventually reaching the hands of Piri Reis. The notion that an ice-free Antarctica was charted long before recorded history is a tantalizing one, a whisper from a lost era that challenges every part of our established timeline. This theory gained further attention in 1960, when a letter from the head of the US Air Force's cartographic section reportedly confirmed that the map's geographical detail of Queen Maud Land agrees very remarkably with seismic profiles of the land underneath the ice. This provided a chilling official endorsement of the theory that the map was not merely a coincidence. Of course, the Piri Reis map has its skeptics. Mainstream historians and cartographers argue that the southern landmass is simply a continuation of the South American coast, bent to fit on the parchment, or a representation of the mythical southern continent known as Terra Australis Incognita. They suggest that any resemblance to the actual Antarctic coastline is pure coincidence, and that modern-day claims of its accuracy are based on a radical redrawing and interpretation of the original map. They point to the fact that the map lacks the Drake Passage, the channel between South America and Antarctica, which would have been a glaring omission if it were a truly accurate chart. Yet, despite the rational explanations, the mystery endures. The Piri Reis map remains a profound historical riddle, a quiet rebellion against the notion that we know everything about our past. It leaves us to wonder if the history we've been taught is incomplete, and if an entire civilization could have risen and fallen, leaving behind only the faintest of clues, like a single aging map to hint at its existence. It is a whisper that tells us that the world we know today may have a much longer and much more mysterious story than we ever dared to imagine. The Piri Reis map hints at a lost land, a ghost on ancient charts. But the idea of a buried, forgotten civilization on Antarctica is a story that goes back far longer, reaching into the deep and beautiful well of human myth. This is where we find the most famous lost continent of all, Atlantis. For some, the story of this mythical city is not just a tale of sinking islands, but an allegorical blueprint for the entire Antarctic mystery. The legend of Atlantis comes to us from the Greek philosopher Plato, who described it in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias around 360 B.C. He wrote of a powerful island nation, technologically advanced and spiritually pure, that existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules in the Atlantic Ocean. According to Plato, the Atlantean civilization was a hub of unimaginable wealth and intellectual achievement, with grand cities and a sophisticated society. He described how, in a single day and night of fire and earthquakes, the entire continent was swallowed by the sea and vanished into the depths, its destruction a punishment for its moral decline. For millennia, this story has been an unsolved puzzle, with countless expeditions searching for the lost city at the bottom of the sea. But what if we have been searching in the wrong place? A more recent and radical theory suggests that Atlantis did not sink beneath the waves, but was instead instantly frozen in time at the South Pole. This idea is based on the work of Professor Charles Hapgood and his followers, who proposed the theory of Earth crust displacement. This concept suggests that the entire lithosphere of our planet, the solid outer crust, can suddenly shift, sliding over the mantle in a cataclysmic global event. According to this theory, a shift occurred around 12,000 years ago, causing the continent of Antarctica to move from a more temperate latitude to its current polar position. Proponents of this theory, such as author Rand Flemeth, argue that Plato's account of Atlantis is not a myth, but a distorted memory of this very event. They suggest that before the shift, Atlantis flourished in a location that was temperate and habitable, with a vast inland sea and a mild climate. The cataclysmic crustal shift would have instantaneously moved the continent into the polar circle, a single, devastating moment where it was flash frozen under a growing ice sheet. The suddenness of its destruction, a day and a night of unimaginable chaos, aligns with Plato's story far more than a slow sinking into the ocean. This theory also finds a chilling resonance with the facts we have already uncovered. The fossils of temperate plants and animals found in Antarctica provide definitive proof that the continent was once lush and green. The Piri Reis map, which shows an ice-free coastline, is used as a tantalizing clue left behind by a civilization with a deep knowledge of the planet's geography before the ice. The geological timeline of the shift also aligns with the timing of the last ice age, which began around 12,000 years ago, suggesting the same event could have been responsible for both the end of Atlantis and the beginning of our current geological epoch. While this theory remains outside of mainstream scientific thought, it offers a powerful and almost poetic explanation for some of Antarctica's most profound mysteries. It suggests that the continent is not just a lifeless mass of ice, but a crypt for an entire civilization, a monument to a world that was erased in a single moment. It challenges us to look at the stories we call myth, not as fiction, but as historical records filtered through the memory of time and trauma. The thought that the world's most famous lost city could be buried beneath miles of silent ice, an age secret of such colossal scale, is a powerful and unsettling idea to sleep on. After we have drifted over the stillness of the subglacial lakes, we can begin to hear a new sound, a silent, whispering motion beneath the ice. The vast, hidden water world of Antarctica is not just a collection of isolated basins, but a complex and dynamic system of subglacial rivers and waterways. These rivers, in their eternal darkness, are slowly and patiently shaping the land beneath the ice, moving meltwater toward the sea. The existence of these rivers was for a long time purely theoretical. Scientists believed that any meltwater at the base of the ice sheet would immediately refreeze under the immense pressure and cold. But with the development of powerful radar and satellite altimetry, we have discovered that water is a major force beneath the continent. These tools have allowed us to map a vast, interconnected network of channels and rivers, an entire hydrological system in a place we once believed to be solid and unmoving. These rivers, like their surface counterparts, are subject to the laws of gravity, flowing down the slopes of the bedrock beneath the ice. They are fed by geothermal heat from the Earth's core and, in some places, by the intense pressure that melts the very base of the ice sheet. This combination of heat and pressure allows the water to remain in a liquid state, a persistent force in a world of ice. The flow of these rivers is not a rushing torrent, but a slow, methodical journey, a quiet movement that nonetheless wields a powerful influence. The sheer scale of this system is breathtaking. Some of these subglacial rivers are believed to be as wide as a mile and run for hundreds of miles, a secret plumbing system on a continental scale. They are the veins of the continent, transporting water and dissolved nutrients from one hidden basin to another. Scientists now believe that these rivers are a crucial part of the global climate system. By carrying meltwater to the coast, they act as a lubricant for the ice streams above, speeding up their flow towards the ocean. This process, known as basal lubrication, is a key factor in how quickly the ice sheet can discharge ice into the sea, a finding that has profound implications for global sea level rise. But the rivers may also hold other, deeper secrets. If life can exist in the still, isolated waters of a lake, what kind of life might exist in a flowing, moving river? The constant flow of water could carry nutrients and microorganisms from one ecosystem to another, creating a hidden biological highway. A continuous stream of life, adapting to the immense pressure and darkness, may be flowing beneath our feet, a life that has never known the sun and never seen the sky. This silent, unseen network of rivers is a profound reminder that we know very little about the world beneath the ice. It tells us that what appears to be a solid, static landmass is, in fact, a dynamic and ever-changing system. The subglacial rivers are like a hidden clock, patiently carving out the bedrock and quietly influencing our world, a secret that we are only just beginning to uncover. The gentle flow of that hidden water, a sound we can only imagine, is a part of Antarctica's mysterious hum. After we have felt the quiet, steady flow of the subglacial rivers, we can begin to imagine a more complex and mysterious system beneath the ice, a sprawling network of hidden passages and open spaces, an immense labyrinth of tunnels. This idea, part myth and part speculation, suggests that the vast, empty space beneath the ice is not just a geological curiosity, but a structured, traversable world. The first, and most scientifically plausible, theory is that these tunnels are a natural phenomenon, carved by the same forces that create the subglacial rivers. In some areas, particularly near the coast or around the continent's active volcanoes, geothermal heat rises from the Earth's core. This heat can create large, hollow spaces and vast cave systems within the base of the ice sheet. As meltwater drains, it can create enormous rivers that carve out subglacial canyons and tunnels, a process that has been ongoing for millions of years. This would explain the existence of vast, interconnected caverns, all part of a single flowing system, hidden from our eyes. But, as with all things in Antarctica, the natural explanation only satisfies part of the mystery. The immense scale and apparent structure of some of the formations detected from above have fueled a more daring theory, that these tunnels are man-made, or at least not natural. Some researchers and conspiracy theorists have suggested that these are the remains of an ancient, hyper-advanced civilization that built a subterranean city to survive a coming ice age. This civilization, in a chillingly prescient act, may have burrowed deep into the bedrock to escape the approaching cold, creating a network of tunnels for transport and habitation. Imagine what such tunnels would be like. Unlike the rough, naturally formed caves we know, these tunnels would be perfectly smooth, with walls polished by ancient technology. They would be of a scale to accommodate not just people, but enormous machinery, perhaps running on a form of energy we do not yet understand. This network could serve as a continent-wide transit system, or a sealed environment that protects an entire population. It would be a sprawling, interconnected grid, a silent, subterranean city with a purpose we can only guess at. Some of the satellite images of the Antarctic surface have revealed what appear to be unnatural linear formations and perfectly circular openings in the ice. While many of these are dismissed as optical illusions or natural features, some believe they are the entry and exit points to this hidden subterranean network. It is a thought that gives the mind pause. If a network of tunnels this large exists, it would have required a level of engineering far beyond what we consider possible for a civilization that lived tens of thousands of years. The idea of a labyrinth of tunnels beneath the ice is a chilling echo of our own modern-day endeavors. We build subway systems and underground bunkers to protect ourselves from the elements and to move faster. It is a fundamental human impulse. Perhaps an ancient civilization facing a planetary catastrophe simply did the same, but on a colossal, continental scale. The thought that the quiet of the continent is in fact a silent, occupied space, a city that has been in a state of deep, frozen sleep for millennia, is a profound mystery. It reminds us that our own world is full of hidden depths, and that the greatest secrets may not be in the sky, but buried deep beneath our feet. After we have felt the strange, magnetic whispers of the Vostok anomaly, we can drift to another, even more profound and baffling feature of the continent's hidden landscape. In a remote region known as Wilkes Land, an enormous unseen force exerts a powerful pull, a gravitational anomaly so vast and so intense that it stands as one of the great geophysical mysteries on Earth. This is a ghost in the gravity field, a silent, heavy whisper from deep beneath the ice that suggests a colossal mass of immense density lies buried in the bedrock. This anomaly was first discovered by NASA's GRACE satellite, which is designed to precisely measure changes in Earth's gravity field. The data revealed a massive gravitational bullseye over the Wilkes Land subglacial basin, a depressed, circular region beneath the ice. The anomaly measures over 200 miles in diameter, a scale so immense that it is almost impossible to comprehend. It is, by all accounts, one of the most significant gravitational disturbances ever found. For mainstream science, the leading explanation for this anomaly is a gigantic meteor impact crater. Scientists have theorized that a colossal asteroid, approximately 300 miles wide, struck the continent during the Permian-Triassic extinction event, a period often called the Great Dying. The impact would have been an event of unimaginable power, with the force of the collision rearranging the Earth's crust and creating a crater so vast that its dense core could still be pulling on the fabric of space-time even after 250 million years. It would have been a catastrophic, world-changing event, one that may have set off the chain reaction that led to the extinction of over 90% of all life on Earth. In this view, the gravity anomaly is the silent, geological scar of a cosmic wound. But as with all of Antarctica's mysteries, there is another more compelling possibility. The sheer scale and perfection of the circular anomaly have led some to speculate on its true nature. What if this immense mass is not a meteorite at all? What if it is a buried city, a perfect, symmetrical circle of an ancient civilization's capital? Or even more daringly, what if it's a massive, extraterrestrial spacecraft, an enormous vessel that either crashed into the continent or was deliberately buried beneath the ice? Perhaps a star seed for a new world. The idea of a lost, man-made installation of such a scale is a profound one. It would mean that a civilization existed on Earth with the ability to build on a planetary scale, a capability that far exceeds our own. The Wilkes land gravity anomaly is a puzzle that we can only measure from afar. We can't see it and we can't touch it. It remains a force, a profound secret buried in the bedrock, a silent testament to a history we may never fully know. It is an echo of either a terrible cosmic disaster or a profound, forgotten beginning. The fact that the most significant gravitational disturbance on the planet exists beneath a continent of ice and myth is a thought that settles gently into the mind. It makes the continent not just a cold land, but a vault for a secret of immense proportion, a mystery that is both heavy with mass and light with possibility. Beneath the silence of the great ice sheet, the frozen land holds not only the whispers of ancient climates, but also the fossilized echoes of a once living world. In a chilling but beautiful paradox, Antarctica's desolate rock and ice preserve the remains of something that should not have been there: ancient forests and swamps. This is the physical proof that this frozen continent was once a verdant land, teeming with life. The most dramatic evidence comes from the Transantarctic Mountains, where scientists have discovered an abundance of fossilized tree stumps, roots and entire forests encased in stone. These are not merely stray pieces of wood, they are the petrified remnants of a vast ecosystem. In a striking visual, one can stand on the ice and look at a hillside that contains the preserved trunks of towering trees, their ancient rings now a testament to a warm, humid past. These fossils tell the story of a subtropical rainforest that once flourished on a continent far closer to the equator. We found the leaves of ferns and the fossilized pollen of Nothofagus, a genus of beech trees. This same genus is found today in the temperate climates of South America and New Zealand, providing a powerful biological link to a time before the continents drifted apart. Imagine a world where the Antarctic sky was a humid grey, with the scent of decaying leaves and the sound of life moving through swamps and forests of conifers. This wasn't a brief moment of warmth, but a long, stable era that persisted for millions of years during the Cretaceous and Eocene periods. The discovery of these ancient swamps further paints this vivid picture. Evidence from sediment cores shows that the coastal regions of Antarctica were once a warm, boggy environment, a network of river deltas and dense wetlands. Life here would have been abundant, with amphibians and dinosaurs roaming through a landscape that would be unrecognizable to us today. The climate during this time was remarkably warm, with average temperatures reaching as high as 50 TFA or even warmer in the interior, completely free of ice. This period ended not with a single catastrophe, but with the slow, deliberate motion of a continent on its journey to the South Pole. The gradual separation of Antarctica from other land masses, followed by the development of the Antarctic circumpolar current, which isolated the continent from warmer waters, began the irreversible process of cooling and glaciation. This was a long, slow goodbye to the ancient forests. One by one, the trees died, their trunks and leaves buried by the changing landscape, eventually becoming a silent, fossilized memory. And so as we look at the immense, quiet white of the continent today, we can listen for the echoes of a lost world. The existence of these fossilized forests is a powerful reminder that what we perceive as static is in fact dynamic, and that the history of our planet is one of continual transformation. The life that once thrived here is now frozen in time, its vibrant story now a quiet whisper beneath the ice. If the fossils in the ice are a testament to a vibrant past, and the Piri Reis map a whisper of ancient knowledge, then we must now consider the most daring and profound possibility of all, that Antarctica's ice conceals the ruins of a lost civilization. This is not a scientific theory, but a powerful speculation, a question born from the accumulation of all the anomalies we have already explored. It is a haunting thought. What if a complete, thriving society was not just buried by ice, but perfectly preserved within it? The theory suggests that an advanced civilization, perhaps the very one responsible for the knowledge of the Piri Reis map, existed on the continent when it was a temperate landmass. As the Earth's climate began to shift and the ice slowly advanced, this civilization did not die out. Instead, it was entombed, its cities and structures encased in a silent, frozen crypt. The ice, in this view, is not a destructive force, but a perfect preserver, a protective shield for a world that simply went into a state of deep, frozen sleep. This idea ties together many of the mysteries we have already discussed. The Wilkes Land gravity anomaly is not seen as a meteor impact, but as the telltale sign of a massive circular city or an immense technological installation, so dense and heavy that it pulls on the very fabric of space-time. The labyrinth of tunnels is not a natural series of caves, but the perfectly engineered subway system of a sprawling subterranean city, a network of passages designed to connect a continental-scale society. The Vostok anomaly, with its strange magnetic field, could be the remnant of a power source or a piece of technology that continues to run, humming its silent, enigmatic song in the dark. Imagine a city under the ice. Its buildings might not be made of concrete or steel, but of a crystalline material designed to withstand unimaginable pressure. Its streets would be smooth, its structures elegant and perfectly symmetrical. It would have its own power source, perhaps drawing geothermal energy from the planet's core or from some other energy source we don't understand. This would be a silent city, with all of its inhabitants either long gone or waiting in a state of stasis. It is a city that has not seen the sun for millennia, its purpose and function now a part of the Earth's own deep, frozen hum. This theory finds a poignant parallel in our own modern fears. We build bunkers to survive a catastrophe. An ancient civilization seeing the coming ice might have simply done the same, but on a colossal continental scale. They may not have been able to stop the ice, but they may have found a way to ride the wave of change, preserving their existence for a future when the ice eventually melts. This would make Antarctica the most important archaeological site on Earth, a discovery that would not just rewrite history, but bring a forgotten era back to life. For now, the lost cities remain a theory, a powerful speculation based on the interpretation of anomalies rather than on any definitive discovery. But the possibility remains a compelling one, a quiet whisper in the deep cold that asks us to consider a world far stranger and more beautiful than we ever dared to imagine. As we drift into sleep, we can listen for the silence of that frozen continent and wonder if it is the quiet of an empty place, or the stillness of a world that is simply waiting to be rediscovered. If the fossils in the ice are a testament to a vibrant past, and the Piri Reis map a whisper of ancient knowledge, then we must now consider the most daring and profound possibility of all, that Antarctica's ice conceals the ruins of a lost civilization. This is not a scientific theory, but a powerful speculation, a question born from the accumulation of all the anomalies we have already explored. It is a haunting thought. What if a complete, thriving society was not just buried by ice, but perfectly preserved within it? The theory suggests that an advanced civilization, perhaps the very one responsible for the knowledge of the Piri Reis map, existed on the continent when it was a temperate landmass. As the Earth's climate began to shift and the ice slowly advanced, this civilization did not die out. Instead, it was entombed, its cities and structures encased in a silent, frozen crypt. The ice, in this view, is not a destructive force, but a perfect preserver, a protective shield for a world that simply went into a state of deep, frozen sleep. This idea ties together many of the mysteries we have already discussed. The Wilkes Land gravity anomaly is not seen as a meteor impact, but as the telltale sign of a massive circular city or an immense technological installation, so dense and heavy that it pulls on the very fabric of space-time. The labyrinth of tunnels is not a natural series of caves, but the perfectly engineered subway system of a sprawling subterranean city, a network of passages designed to connect a continental-scale society. The Vostok anomaly, with its strange magnetic field, could be the remnant of a power source or a piece of technology that continues to run, humming its silent, enigmatic song in the dark. Imagine a city under the ice. Its buildings might not be made of concrete or steel, but of a crystalline material designed to withstand unimaginable pressure. Its streets would be smooth, its structures elegant and perfectly symmetrical. It would have its own power source, perhaps drawing geothermal energy from the planet's core or from some other energy source we don't understand. This would be a silent city, with all of its inhabitants either long gone or waiting in a state of stasis. It is a city that has not seen the sun for millennia, its purpose and function now a part of the Earth's own deep, frozen hum. This theory finds a poignant parallel in our own modern fears. We build bunkers to survive a catastrophe. An ancient civilization seeing the coming ice might have simply done the same, but on a colossal continental scale. They may not have been able to stop the ice, but they may have found a way to ride the wave of change, preserving their existence for a future when the ice eventually melts. This would make Antarctica the most important archaeological site on Earth, a discovery that would not just rewrite history, but bring a forgotten era back to life. For now, the lost cities remain a theory, a powerful speculation based on the interpretation of anomalies rather than on any definitive discovery. But the possibility remains a compelling one, a quiet whisper in the deep cold that asks us to consider a world far stranger and more beautiful than we ever dared to imagine. As we drift into sleep, we can listen for the silence of that frozen continent and wonder if it is the quiet of an empty place or the stillness of a world that is simply waiting to be rediscovered. After we have felt the deep hum of ancient myths, we can turn to the modern era and discover that humanity's fascination with Antarctica's secrets is far from a new idea. It is a quiet, ongoing endeavor, a cold war of secrets being fought beneath the banner of science. This is the story of the secret expeditions, covert operations by different nations and the rumors of profound discoveries that have been deliberately hidden from the world. While the Antarctic Treaty System of 1959 famously designated the continent a natural reserve for peace and science, its very nature of being a global territory has made it a focal point for intelligence and military interest. The treaty prohibits military activity, but it allows for inspections, creating a landscape of surveillance and suspicion. The public face of Antarctica is one of peaceful scientific collaboration, but beneath that calm exterior, some believe a quiet, desperate race to uncover its hidden anomalies has been underway for decades. The most famous and enigmatic of these secret missions was Operation High Jump, a massive United States naval expedition to Antarctica in 1946, just after the end of World War II. Led by the celebrated polar explorer Admiral Richard E. Byrd, the fleet was of a scale that was unprecedented for a scientific mission. It included 13 ships, an aircraft carrier, and over 4,700 personnel. Officially, the mission was to train in cold weather conditions and establish a research base. But its sheer size and the brevity of its stay have long fueled speculation. The expedition was scheduled to last 6 to 8 months, but it was abruptly cut short after just 8 weeks, returning to base with little explanation. The abrupt end of Operation High Jump, combined with cryptic statements made by Admiral Byrd himself, gave rise to a host of conspiracy theories. In an interview with a South American newspaper, Byrd was quoted as saying it was imperative that the United States initiate defense measures against enemy air attacks originating from the polar regions. This sparked rumors of hostile encounters with unknown flying objects or a technologically advanced hidden presence. Some have even suggested that Byrd's personal diary contained entries about a subterranean world and meetings with a superior civilization. The silence from the military that followed the mission only deepened the mystery, leaving the world to wonder what could have happened on the ice that was so shocking it had to be classified for decades. The motivations for these secret expeditions are rumored to be many. Some believe they were a race to find and secure a potential strategic military base in a region that controls access to the world's oceans. Others believe they are a search for immense natural resources, a hunt for rare earth minerals or new energy sources that could change the global balance of power. But the most intriguing theory is that the expeditions are an ongoing, quiet archaeological dig, a search for the buried ruins and technology of a lost civilization that could be hidden under the ice. This connects the modern military-industrial quest to the ancient, mythological stories of Atlantis and Hyperborea. While Operation High Jump remains the most talked about example, other nations have been accused of similar clandestine operations. Rumors persist of a pre-war German base, New Swabia, in Queen Maud Land, and of Russian and Chinese intelligence activity. The very existence of these whispers tells us that Antarctica is viewed by the world's powers as far more than just a scientific outpost. It is a potential storehouse of a profound secret, a key to a new and unimaginable future. The quiet of the continent is perhaps just the silence before a great discovery, with nations playing a long, patient game, waiting for the right moment to uncover a truth that could change everything. The story of a hidden Nazi base in Antarctica is one of the most enduring and unsettling legends of the frozen continent. It is a chilling tale that suggests a dark and secret chapter of human history was not just ended in a bunker in Berlin, but silently frozen and preserved beneath the ice. This isn't just a rumor. It is a theory rooted in real historical fact. The story begins with the Third German Antarctic Expedition, a fully documented scientific mission that took place from 1938 to 1939. Under the command of Alfred Richer, the expedition sailed to the continent's Queen Maud Land region. Officially, their mission was to secure a whaling station and map the territory for future German expansion. They flew over vast areas, taking aerial photographs and dropping swastika flags from their planes, symbolically claiming the land and renaming it New Swabia. This much is a historical fact, but the conspiracy theory suggests that this was not a simple mission of exploration. Proponents of the theory believe that the expedition's true purpose was to locate a secret, geothermally heated area in Queen Maud Land that could serve as a site for a permanent subterranean base. This secret base, often referred to as Base 211, was said to have been constructed in a warm, ice-free cavern, a vast subterranean world where Nazi scientists and military officials could continue their research, shielded from the Allied forces. The legend states that a massive convoy of German U-boats, led by Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz, transported top officials, scientists, and advanced technology to this base after the war, a silent and undetected exodus from a falling empire. The rumors surrounding what the Nazis were searching for in Antarctica are even more compelling. The theories often claim that the Germans, obsessed with occultism and the search for ancient secrets, were looking for evidence of a lost civilization or even an alien presence. They were said to be searching for ancient texts and technologies to develop futuristic weapons. The rumors of flying saucers, known as Vril or Haunebu craft, are often directly linked to this Antarctic base, with the idea that German scientists successfully reverse-engineered technology found in the ice. This chilling narrative ties neatly into the anomalies we have already explored. The Nazis, in this view, were not just looking for a refuge. They were aware of the Piri-Reis map and its hints of an ice-free continent. They were allegedly searching for the very same lost civilization that we have speculated about, the source of the Wilkes land gravity anomaly and the labyrinth of tunnels. The myth paints a picture of a desperate final quest for power and a new beginning, a quest that was so secretive it had to be conducted in a land of ice and silence. While mainstream historians dismiss these stories as science fiction and Cold War propaganda, they continue to endure. The mystery surrounding the Nazis' early expedition, the secrecy of the post-war period, and the inaccessibility of the continent itself have allowed the legend to grow and thrive. The thought that a dark and horrifying chapter of human history may not have ended in 1945 but instead went into a state of deep, frozen stasis is a profound and unsettling idea. It leaves us to wonder if the silent frozen continent is simply a natural reserve, or if it is a crypt for a terrible secret that is still waiting to be uncovered. After we've considered the rumors of hidden bases and secret missions, we can turn our gaze to a mystery that is not buried beneath the ice, but stands tall upon it, visible for all to see. In the desolate landscape of the Ellsworth Mountains, there are structures that seem to defy a natural explanation, perfectly symmetrical. Pyramid-like rock formations that rise from the ice with an almost chilling sense of purpose. The most prominent of these structures is located in the southern part of the range, and from a distance it bears an uncanny resemblance to the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Its triangular shape and its prominent position on the otherwise flat, icy landscape have led many to wonder, are these the work of nature, or are they the remains of an ancient, man-made structure? For mainstream science, the answer is clear. These formations are believed to be nunataks, the peaks of mountains that have been carved into their distinctive shapes by the slow, inexorable march of a glacier. Over millions of years, the process of freeze-thaw erosion, where water seeps into cracks in the rock, freezes, expands, and breaks the rock apart, can work with the wind to sculpt a peak into a near-perfect pyramid. This is a common geological process, and these particular formations are seen as a powerful testament to the patient, persistent work of glacial forces. But for others, this explanation is not enough. The sheer symmetry and scale of the formations are so profound that they suggest a level of precision that is difficult to attribute to random natural processes. This has led to the more daring theory that these are not geological features at all, but the silent, frozen ruins of a lost civilization. In this view, the pyramids are not just remnants of rock, but monumental architectural structures that were once part of a sprawling civilization. They could have been built for a variety of purposes, as ceremonial centers, as energy generators, or perhaps as a celestial observatory, with their faces aligned to a now-forgotten arrangement of stars. This idea creates a profound connection to the pyramids found across the globe. From the Great Pyramids of Giza to the vast temples of Mesoamerica, the pyramid form is a recurring motif in human history. The discovery of a similar structure in Antarctica, a continent that was once temperate and home to life, raises the chilling possibility that these civilizations were not isolated, but were part of a global, interconnected culture. The Antarctic pyramids, in this view, would be a Rosetta Stone, a physical clue left behind to prove that the stories of Atlantis and a lost golden age are real. The question of whether these structures are natural or man-made remains a profound riddle. We have the scientific explanation, which is grounded in geology and known processes, and we have the more compelling mythological explanation, which connects to every great mystery of the continent. As we look at the silent, symmetrical peaks, we are left to wonder if they are simply beautiful accidents of nature, or if they are a deliberate monument, a chilling testament left behind by a civilization that knew its time was running out. They are a silent sentinel in a landscape of ice, watching over a history that is just waiting to be uncovered. For some, the pyramid-like structures of Antarctica are not a question of what they are, but why they are. The chilling symmetry of these mountains, though explained by the slow work of geological forces, leaves a space for a deeper, more profound mystery. This is the anomaly of the Great Pyramids, an idea that goes beyond mere rock formations and speculates that they are ancient, man-made structures built with a purpose so grand we can only begin to comprehend it. This theory suggests that the structures are not just the peaks of mountains, but the foundations of colossal pyramids, the rest of which are still buried beneath the ice. Imagine a civilization that understood geometry and engineering on a scale that would dwarf our own. A people capable of not just building on a continental scale, but building with a sacred geometry that echoes throughout the planet's history. The Great Pyramids of Egypt, for instance, are not just tombs. They are said to be aligned with astonishing precision to the cardinal directions and with constellations like Orion. Their purpose, many believe, was to serve as a celestial map, a monument that connects Earth with the heavens. The Antarctic pyramids, in this view, might have served a similar purpose, but on a different axis. They could be aligned not with the stars of today, but with the star constellations of a different era, a time before the Earth crust displacement shifted the continents. Perhaps their alignments are a silent code, a message from an ancient past designed to prove that they were here and that they knew when and where their world was going to end. It is a haunting thought that a perfect alignment, a forgotten whisper from a lost era, is waiting to be uncovered, a clue that ties a single frozen mountain to a constellation that is no longer in the same place in the sky. But what if their purpose was more than just a monument? A compelling theory is that these structures were not just built, but harnessed. Ancient myths across cultures speak of a lost technology that could tap into a source of power. Some believe that pyramids, with their unique shape, can act as energy generators, focusing and amplifying natural forces. The Antarctic pyramids, if man-made, could have been a part of a vast continental-scale power grid, drawing energy from the Earth's core or from the very magnetic fields that produce the aurora, the Vostok anomaly and the Wilkes. Land anomaly, in this light, are not just geological curiosities. They are the ghost of a vast power system, the faint, lingering hum of a technology that continues to exist even in its state of deep, frozen sleep. The existence of a technological purpose for these pyramids connects the mysteries of Antarctica to every major anomaly on the continent. The lost civilization that built the labyrinth of tunnels and left behind the Piri-Reis map would have required an immense source of power. The pyramids would have been that source, a silent and continuous energy provider that would allow a civilization to live and thrive in a harsh climate. This suggests that the pyramids are not just random relics, but are an integral part of a complex and profound system, a city and its power grid buried beneath the ice. The lack of definitive proof for a man-made origin keeps these pyramids a profound riddle. The chilling symmetry of their slopes, the echoes of a lost knowledge, and the possibility of a forgotten purpose all combine to make these structures a mesmerizing and unsettling mystery. Are they a beautiful accident of nature, or are they a silent sentinel left behind to guard the secrets of a world that went into a state of deep, frozen sleep? The question hangs in the air, a whisper on the quiet winds of the frozen continent. While much of Antarctica's mystery is buried beneath its ice, the continent's secrets are not confined to the land alone. The sky above this desolate realm has become a canvas for its own profound riddles. For decades, polar explorers, scientists, and military personnel have reported sightings of unexplained aerial phenomena, silent, swift, and seemingly non-terrestrial craft that move with an intelligence far beyond anything we know. The most famous of these accounts comes from the era of exploration. During his voyages to the South Pole, the legendary Admiral Richard E. Byrd made cryptic statements that would go on to fuel decades of speculation. Though his official diaries are filled with detailed accounts of the harsh landscape, rumors and alleged private writings suggest he witnessed things that defied explanation. In his supposed secret diary, he wrote of a journey to a land beyond the pole, a place of green valleys and lush mountains where he met a master civilization. While these claims are widely considered to be a form of science fiction or an exaggeration, they reflect a pervasive sense that the pole conceals something far more complex than just ice. More modern reports from pilots and research crews continue to add to the enigma. Stories circulate of aircraft experiencing sudden and complete power loss when flying over certain mysterious holes or regions of the ice. Observers on the ground have reported seeing strange lights moving at impossible speeds and silent objects that appear to defy the laws of physics. The most compelling of these reports describe large, perfectly silent objects, sometimes circular, that simply hover or move with an unsettling, fluid grace. These sightings are particularly unsettling because in a region with very little human activity, there is nothing for the witness to misinterpret. For the sake of scientific rigor, most of these phenomena are given a mundane explanation. They are attributed to atmospheric conditions unique to the polar regions, such as auroras or lenticular clouds, which, when illuminated, can take on strange and otherworldly appearances. They are also attributed to refraction, the bending of light through layers of ice and air, or even to psychological stress induced by long periods of isolation. But the consistency of the reports and their unsettling nature makes them difficult to dismiss entirely. This leaves open the possibility that these aerial phenomena are connected to the very mysteries we have already explored. They could be the vehicles of a lost civilization, moving to and from their subterranean bases, a silent civilization that still maintains a technological presence on the continent. The sightings could be a glimpse of the very inhabitants who built the pyramids and dug the labyrinth of tunnels. They may not be from another star system, but from a world deep within our own, a world that we have only begun to scratch the surface of. Another, more chilling theory is that these sightings are not of a civilization at all, but of a secret military presence. The rumors of Operation High Jump and the Nazi bases suggest that the great powers of the world are engaged in a hidden competition for Antarctica's secrets. The strange craft could be the result of a classified top-secret program, with nations testing new technologies in a remote region where they can operate without being seen. In this view, the unexplained aerial phenomena are not extraterrestrial, but are a sign of a deep, clandestine, and very human battle being fought in the skies of the quiet continent. The very idea of unexplained aerial phenomena in the most remote region on Earth adds a chilling layer to the continent's mystique. It suggests that Antarctica is not just a place of buried history, but an active, living mystery, with watchers in the sky observing a planet that has no idea it is being watched. It is a mystery that makes the silence of the continent feel a little less empty and a little more profound. Amidst the grand scale of buried cities and planetary cataclysms, the most powerful mysteries are often the most personal. This is the mystery of the frozen mummies, the perfectly preserved remains of creatures, and possibly even people, that have been held in a state of suspended animation by the continent's profound and unyielding cold. It is a chilling reminder that in Antarctica, time does not decay. It simply waits. The process of natural mummification here is a testament to the continent's unique environment. It is a combination of extreme cold, which prevents bacterial decomposition, and zero humidity, which allows for a process of natural freeze-drying. The constant dry winds wick all moisture from the body's tissues, leaving behind a hard, leathery shell of skin and bone. The bodies of creatures that get lost and perish far from the coast in the continent's dry valleys remain so pristine that they can be carbon dated to be hundreds or even thousands of years old. The most common discoveries of these mummies have been of animals. In the famous McMurdo Dry Valleys, explorers have found the bodies of seals and penguins perfectly preserved, as if they had only just died. Some of these mummified seals, which have been found as far as 40 miles inland, have been carbon dated to be over 2,600 years old. Their discovery is a scientific goldmine. Because their soft tissue and DNA remain largely intact, scientists can analyze their stomach contents to understand ancient diets, sequence their DNA to track changes in species over millennia, and study their physiology to understand how they survived in such a harsh environment. These creatures, in their silent, frozen state, have become biological time capsules, a living library of a past that would have otherwise been lost to time. But the most compelling and haunting possibility is that of human remains. The conditions that can perfectly preserve a seal for thousands of years could also preserve a person. While no definitive discovery of a lost, ancient human civilization has been made, the idea hangs heavy over every expedition. If a member of the lost civilization of Atlantis or Hyperborea, or a forgotten explorer, were to have perished on the surface of the continent, their body would not decompose. It would be frozen in time, a silent testament to a world that was erased by the ice. The discovery of a frozen human mummy would not be just a scientific find. It would be a cataclysmic event for our understanding of history. A perfectly preserved individual could tell us what they looked like, what they wore, and what they ate. Their genetics could unlock clues about their origins, their ancestors, and their connection to modern humanity. Their very existence would provide the irrefutable evidence for a lost chapter of human history, a physical, tangible link to a world that we can only dream about. The chilling possibility is that such remains are already out there, buried beneath a recent snowfall or on the edge of a deep crevasse waiting to be found. They are the most powerful and final piece of evidence, a silent testament to a story that we are only beginning to tell. And so as we fall into a quiet sleep, we can contemplate the image of a body perfectly preserved in the silent cold, a human time capsule waiting to be opened. Even as we consider the possibility of a forgotten civilization buried deep beneath the ice, a new and unsettling question arises from the surface of the continent itself. When we turn our attention to the satellite imagery of Antarctica's most remote regions, a different kind of anomaly appears, one that has ignited a quiet fire of speculation and wonder. These are the Sentinel Towers, strange, elongated, and sometimes perfectly symmetrical formations that rise from the landscape, seemingly watching over a silent, frozen world. These formations, captured by satellites and scrutinized by online enthusiasts, are often dismissed by geologists as a natural phenomenon. They are believed to be a more dramatic form of nunataks, rock peaks that have been exposed and meticulously sculpted by the forces of nature. The constant, brutal winds of the continent, carrying with them particles of ice and dust, act as a kind of colossal sandblaster, slowly but surely eroding the rock into these bizarre, towering shapes. Over millions of years, this process can work a kind of magic, creating a chilling symmetry that appears almost impossible. It's a testament to the patient, persistent, and creative power of the elements. But for some, the geological explanation feels incomplete. The sheer scale of these towers and their seemingly deliberate placement in the most remote areas of the continent suggests a purpose far grander than simple erosion. This is where the theory of the Sentinel Towers takes on a life of its own. It speculates that these are not natural rock formations at all, but man-made obelisks, ancient monuments left behind by a civilization that knew its time was running out. They are, in this view, not relics, but deliberate messages, silent watchers standing guard over the secrets of a lost world. Imagine what their purpose could have been. Perhaps they were a form of communication device, a network of obelisks designed to transmit a signal across the planet, a silent broadcast of a civilization's end. Or perhaps they were a power source, drawing energy from the Earth itself, a part of a larger, now dormant technological grid. They could be a form of geophysical marker, a series of gigantic signposts for a future civilization to follow, pointing to the location of the main city or the entrance to the labyrinth of tunnels. The haunting symmetry of their form suggests a deep understanding of geometry and engineering, a knowledge that was not lost, but merely hidden from the world. The idea of these towering structures as sentinels creates a profound, almost mystical sense of mystery. They are like a silent watch, a series of eyes that never blink, patiently waiting for the ice to melt or for humanity to become ready to understand their purpose. They turn the frozen continent from a passive museum of the past into an active and enigmatic space, a place that is still in a state of deep, frozen work. It makes the silence feel less empty, and the vast, empty sky above feel a little less lonely. The question remains, are these just beautiful accidents of nature, or are they a profound riddle left behind by a civilization that wanted its existence to be remembered? After we have looked at the towering structures and felt the profound pull of gravity, we can turn our senses inward and consider the most subtle and beautiful of all Antarctica's mysteries. This is the idea that the ice itself, in its crystalline and silent form, records and preserves more than just geology. It is the theory of the whispers of the ice, the chilling possibility that the frozen continent has acted as a geological recorder, holding the silent echoes of sounds, thoughts, and events from a forgotten era. Scientifically, we know that ice is a perfect preserver of things. It traps air bubbles, dust, and pollen, keeping them in a state of stasis for hundreds of thousands of years. But what if it also traps vibrations? The ice sheet is not a solid, lifeless mass. It is a dynamic structure, a mosaic of crystals that grow and shift under immense pressure. As the snow falls and compresses, each layer of ice forms a new crystal lattice. In this view, every sound, every tremor, and every whisper that occurred on the surface of the continent was absorbed and imprinted onto the very structure of the ice. Imagine what a discovery that would be. A soundscape of an ancient world, a sensory memory of a time we can only see in fossils and rock. We might hear the rustling of ancient beech trees, the quiet hum of a subtropical swamp, or the roar of a dinosaur from the Cretaceous period. The ice would be a living audio library, with each layer holding a perfect record of the natural world. But the most profound discovery would be the sounds of the lost civilization that we have speculated about. The ice could hold the sounds of their cities, the rhythmic hum of their machines, the gentle murmur of their voices, the sounds of their music and their daily lives. We could hear the echo of a forgotten language, a tongue that has not been spoken for tens of thousands of years. This would not be an abstract archaeological find. It would be a chilling, intimate connection to a lost world. We could hear the final panicked cries of a civilization facing a sudden and cataclysmic event, as their paradise was flash frozen into a silent crypt. This beautiful and haunting idea connects all of the continent's mysteries into a single, cohesive narrative. It suggests that the Eltanin impact was not just a geological event, but a world-ending cacophony, its roar now trapped in the deep ice. The pyramid structures are not just silent obelisks, but a part of a larger, ancient technological grid that had its own sound, a silent resonance that hums in the bedrock. The profound and chilling silence of the continent is not emptiness, but a state of perfect preservation, a deep, frozen quiet that holds every sound that was ever made. For now, this remains a beautiful and unprovable piece of speculation. But the next time you think of Antarctica, you can imagine that the great ice sheet is not just a white void. It is a vast, frozen library of sound, a deep and unblinking memory that is patiently waiting for the day that we have the technology to listen. The quiet hum of the continent is perhaps not a sound at all, but a frozen whisper, a silent echo from a time that has been buried and forgotten. The silent hum of the ice holds more than just a memory. It holds a profound and perfect stillness. The Antarctic ice sheet is not just a geological formation, but the ultimate time capsule, a cryogenic vault that has held secrets in a state of stasis for hundreds of thousands of years. The sheer power of the deep freeze is its ability to stop time itself, preserving anything that falls into its embrace in a state of near-perfect condition. This incredible preservation is a direct result of the continent's extreme environment. The constant, brutal cold and the complete lack of moisture create a sterile, oxygen-poor environment that is inhospitable to all forms of decay. Bacteria cannot survive, and the natural process of decomposition is brought to a standstill. Anything that is buried beneath the layers of compressed snow is instantly cryopreserved, its cellular structure locked in place, waiting patiently for the day it can be thawed. The scientific evidence of this preservation is already astonishing. From the deepest ice cores, scientists have successfully extracted and reanimated ancient microbes and viruses that have been dormant for over 400,000 years. These are organisms that have existed for 1,000 millennia, their life suspended in a state of deep, frozen sleep. We have also seen the natural mummification of seals and penguins, whose bodies, preserved with startling clarity in the continent's dry valleys, provide us with a perfect library of ancient DNA and a perfect record of their ancient diet. These are not fossils in the traditional sense. They are biological time capsules, ready to be studied as if they died just yesterday. But what if the preservation of the ice goes beyond biology? This is where the true mystery of the time capsule begins. If the ice can preserve a microbe, what else might it preserve? The possibility of a perfectly frozen piece of technology, a machine or a device from a lost civilization, is not just a fantasy. It could be an elegant crystalline computer, a power generator, or a communication device that still holds a silent dormant code. Such a discovery would not just be an archaeological find. It would be a technological leap, giving us access to a science that is tens of thousands of years ahead of our own. And what about a physical record of the past? The idea of a perfectly preserved book or a scroll from a lost civilization is a haunting thought. A library of ancient texts, their paper and ink, held in a perfect state of stasis, could contain the entire history of a lost world. It could tell us who they were, where they came from, and what led to their tragic and sudden end. This would be a discovery that would not just rewrite history, but bring a forgotten era back to life. Its entire story waiting patiently in the deep freeze, the great Antarctic ice sheet, in this view, is a silent archive, a colossal vault holding secrets that we can't even begin to comprehend. Its perfect stillness is a promise of perfect preservation, a quiet testament to a past that is not truly gone, but merely sleeping. The chilling thought is that the most profound secrets of our world, the most incredible discoveries of all time, are simply waiting for us to find them. The hum of the continent is not an empty sound, but the deep, frozen resonance of a time that is still waiting to be thawed. In the grand theatre of the night sky above the silent white of Antarctica, a new and unsettling mystery unfolds, the aurora australis, or the southern lights. While science has a firm grasp on the physical process behind this breathtaking phenomenon, there is a powerful and persistent feeling that its purpose is more profound than we can possibly imagine. The science is simple. Charged particles from the sun, known as solar wind, are funneled by Earth's magnetic field toward the poles, where they collide with atmospheric gases like oxygen and nitrogen, causing them to glow. This is a beautiful and elegant explanation, but it doesn't quiet the whispers that the aurora has an unknown, possibly even intelligent, function. The most daring theory is that the aurora is a form of communication. It's a vast, dynamic light show that is not merely a byproduct of solar activity, but a deliberate message, a cosmic signal being broadcast to anyone on the planet who is willing to listen. The changing colors, the pulsing waves, and the incredible fluid patterns are, in this view, not random. They are a code, a complex language written in light. This idea finds a strange echo in the experiences of explorers. During his expeditions, Admiral Richard E. Byrd, as mentioned in previous accounts, described seeing strange phenomena in the polar regions, a cosmic alphabet written in the sky, suggesting that he felt a direct, intelligent presence behind the lights. Another possibility, even more chilling, is that the aurora is a harnessing of planetary energy. The Earth's magnetic field is a powerful force, and the aurora is the visible manifestation of a complex interaction between solar energy and that field. What if this interaction is not just a natural light show, but a colossal, continent-sized power generator, a technology so advanced that it is inseparable from the laws of physics itself? The lost civilization we have speculated about, the one that built the pyramids and dug the tunnels, may not have needed a simple power source. They may have had the ability to tap into the aurora, drawing energy from the very lifeblood of the planet. In this view, the shimmering curtains of light are not just beautiful. They are the sign of an immense, silent machine in motion, its energy still humming in the atmosphere. The most unsettling and profound possibility is that the aurora is a shield. If a lost civilization is in fact buried beneath the ice, in a state of deep, frozen sleep, then perhaps the aurora is a protective barrier, a kind of magnetic force field designed to keep something in or something out. The charged particles and intense magnetic energy of the aurora could be a silent and invisible wall, a testament to a civilization that knew how to defend itself from a world that had become too hostile. The constant cosmic light show is, in this view, a sentinel, a silent watch that has stood guard over the continent's secrets for millennia. The fact that the aurora is a common, natural phenomenon does not diminish its mystery. It simply moves it to a different plane. The silence of the night sky, the sudden burst of brilliant light, and the immense power of the magnetic field all combine to create a profound riddle. The aurora australis may just be a beautiful byproduct of planetary physics, but the mind cannot help but wonder if it is also a powerful message, a profound technology, or a silent and eternal watch. Amidst all of Antarctica's silent mysteries, there is one final profound question that hangs over all of them. What if the ice melts? What if the natural forces that have kept the continent a silent crypt for millennia suddenly reverse and a great unveiling begins? This is not a sudden cataclysmic event, but a slow, inexorable process that would change our world in ways we can barely comprehend. The scientific reality of this process is already unfolding. The West Antarctic ice sheet is shrinking at an accelerating rate, and its complete collapse would contribute to a global sea level rise of over 10 feet, a change that would redraw the map of the world as we know it, flooding major coastal cities and displacing hundreds of millions of people. But the melting of the ice would also be an incredible act of revelation. As the ice retreats, it would reveal a landscape unseen for millions of years, and the secrets of that landscape would be laid bare. The first discoveries would be of a natural world long forgotten. The melting ice would expose fossilized forests and swamps, revealing an entire ecosystem in a state of stunning preservation. We would walk through a world of ancient beech trees and giant ferns, a living museum of a time when the continent was temperate and full of life. We would also discover the frozen mummies of animals and possibly even ancient humans. Their bodies and DNA a perfect time capsule, providing us with a direct, personal link to a world that was erased from our history books. But the most profound unveilings would be the archaeological ones. The slow melt would reveal the true nature of the anomalies we have speculated about. The pyramid structures would be revealed to be the tips of monumental man-made pyramids, their vast size and perfect symmetry a testament to an advanced, forgotten science. The entrances to the labyrinth of tunnels would be exposed, allowing us to enter a subterranean world that has been silent and dormant for millennia. And perhaps most chilling of all, the lost cities, hinted at by the Wilkes land gravity anomaly, would finally be seen, their crystalline structures still standing, a silent testament to a civilization that went into a state of deep, frozen sleep. The consequences of this great unveiling would be both exhilarating and terrifying. On a political and economic level, the newly accessible continent would become a battleground for resources. Nations would race to claim the newly exposed land, and a new Cold War would begin for the vast mineral and oil reserves that are thought to be buried beneath the ice. The discovery of an advanced technology from a lost civilization would lead to a profound and dangerous new arms race, as nations scrambled to acquire a power that could change the global balance of power forever. Philosophically, this unveiling would challenge every human institution. The discovery of a lost, advanced civilization would rewrite every history book, every religious text, and every fundamental belief system. We would be forced to ask, were they our ancestors? Are we just a repetition of a story that has already been told? The unveiling of Antarctica would be more than just a discovery. It would be a cataclysmic event for the human psyche, a moment when we come face to face with a past we never knew existed. The quiet of the ice would give way to the profound hum of a truth that is both beautiful and unsettling. The mystery of what lies beneath would no longer be a question, but a new and perhaps overwhelming reality. While our imagination soars with the grand scale of buried cities and lost civilizations, the most compelling evidence for a hidden past often comes from the smallest and most mundane of details. This is the domain of geological anomalies, strange formations and mineral deposits that exist in Antarctica and refuse to conform to our established scientific models. They are a quiet rebellion against our understanding, a silent puzzle in the very rock of the continent. Perhaps the most visually stunning of these is Blood Falls. Located in the desolate and famously dry Taylor Valley, this 5-story waterfall appears to be gushing a crimson, blood-like liquid from the tongue of a glacier. For over a century, explorers and scientists have debated its chilling hue. While it may look like something out of a horror story, the scientific explanation is both elegant and complex. The red color is caused by iron-rich saltwater from a subglacial lake. This lake has been trapped beneath the ice for over 2 million years, and its water has become 3 times saltier than the ocean. The lack of oxygen in the sealed lake means that the iron in the water remains in a reduced state. But as the iron-rich water seeps through a fissure in the glacier and hits the open air, the iron instantly oxidizes or rusts, giving the water its shocking blood-red hue. It's a natural phenomenon, but it's a profound one, as the water from the lake is also home to a unique, chemosynthetic microbial life that has survived in complete isolation for millennia. But beyond the spectacle of Blood Falls, there are other more subtle and profound anomalies. The Transantarctic Mountains, a magnificent chain that spans the entire continent, shows signs of having a geological history that defies a simple explanation. They were not formed by continental collision, like most of the world's great mountain ranges, but by a series of colossal faults that pushed the rock upward in a process of rifting. The timing of this uplift and the speed at which it occurred have long puzzled geologists. It is a slow and silent process that, over millions of years, has left behind a mountain range that seems to be a complete geological rebellion against the expected timeline of the continent's history. This very anomaly has led some to speculate that the uplift was not natural at all, but was triggered by a more powerful and mysterious force, perhaps a planetary event or even a terraforming project from a lost civilization. Another great mystery is the presence of rare mineral deposits. While Antarctica is known to be rich in coal and iron, there are rumors of unique non-terrestrial minerals and strange crystalline structures that have been found in the rock. Some of these discoveries have been so unusual that they have been removed from the public record, fueling speculation that they are not from Earth at all. This is a possibility that connects the continent to the Eltanin impact, a meteor that could have seeded the area with new and unknown elements. It is a chilling thought that the very ground beneath the ice is a profound and silent riddle, a mix of terrestrial geology and something else entirely. These anomalies are a testament to the fact that Antarctica is a far more dynamic and mysterious place than we can imagine. They are a series of puzzles left behind by a geology that refuses to conform to our expectation. They are not simply a result of natural processes, but a quiet and persistent challenge to our understanding of the planet. For as long as humanity has looked at the ocean, our imagination has filled its silent depths with colossal, unseen beasts. In Antarctica, where the frigid waters meet the great ice sheet, the line between myth and reality becomes blurred. This is the domain of the fossilized leviathans, the powerful and haunting possibility that the coastal ice holds the remains of massive, ancient sea creatures that are far grander than anything we can imagine. The scientific record already gives us a glimpse into this magnificent past. The ocean surrounding Antarctica was once a bustling, vibrant home to some of the most impressive creatures to ever live. Scientists have found the fossilized bones of giant marine reptiles from the age of the dinosaurs, including plesiosaurs and mosasaurs, which were massive, shark-like predators that ruled the seas. We have also uncovered the remains of ancient colossal penguins, some of which stood as tall as a person and weighed over 200 pounds, far larger than any living penguin today. These fossils, found on islands like Seymour Island, tell a story of a sea teeming with life, a powerful and complex ecosystem that was a precursor to our own. But what if the preservation in Antarctica goes beyond fossilization? The constant cold and the unique geology of the coastal ice mean that a creature that died in the water could have been perfectly sealed in a state of stasis. This is where the speculative part of the story begins. Imagine a massive, unknown species from the deep past, a true leviathan that was perfectly mummified by the ice, its skin, muscle, and even its internal organs locked in a state of suspended animation. Such a discovery would not just be a new species, it would be a living time capsule. The discovery of a frozen leviathan would provide us with an unprecedented look into the biology and physiology of a creature from a forgotten era. We could study its DNA, its cellular structure, and its internal anatomy with a level of detail that is impossible with a traditional fossil. We could answer questions that have puzzled us for centuries. What did they eat? How did they reproduce? And why did they go extinct? A perfectly preserved creature could also hold traces of its final moments, a last meal in its stomach that would give us an incredible glimpse into the ecosystem it inhabited. It would not be a mere skeleton, but a biological blueprint from a lost world. The mystery of these leviathans also connects to the continent's most enigmatic features. The subglacial rivers and deep lakes of Antarctica are home to a massive, undiscovered ecosystem. What if a descendant of these ancient sea creatures, a living leviathan, has found a way to survive in the deep, dark waters beneath the ice? The idea that a massive, ancient creature could be alive and thriving in a world that we can't even see is a haunting and profound thought. The ocean surrounding Antarctica holds a world of secrets. While we have already found the fossils of magnificent creatures, the possibility of a perfectly preserved leviathan in the coastal ice or a living descendant in the deep waters is a mystery that reminds us that the history of life is far grander and more complex than we ever dared to imagine. The cold, silent waters are not empty. They are the final resting place of ancient giants and perhaps the home of new ones. As we have explored the secrets of the subglacial lakes and the potential for life within them, a more profound and chilling hypothesis emerges. What if the water we have discovered is just a small part of a much vaster, hidden world? This is the theory of the sub-ice oceans, a staggering idea that suggests that beneath the Antarctic ice, and perhaps within the very crust of the continent, lies a colossal, ancient body of water. This is a far cry from a simple lake. It is a geophysical ocean that has been sealed off from our world for millions of years. The geological makeup of Antarctica lends itself to this profound speculation. The landmass is composed of two distinct parts: East Antarctica, a stable craton with a thick crust, and West Antarctica, a series of smaller, tectonically active plates. This unique structure, with its deep basins and mountain ranges, could have created vast sealed cavities. These subterranean spaces, kept warm by geothermal heat and held under immense pressure, could be the perfect environment for a permanent subterranean ocean. The existence of such an ocean would challenge our fundamental understanding of planetary science. It would mean that a body of water of unimaginable scale could exist not on the surface of a planet, but within its own rock. This could be a relic from a time when the continent was still forming, a primordial sea that was trapped and sealed by the immense geological forces of continental drift and glaciation. The water in this ocean would be a perfect time capsule, with a unique chemistry and mineral content that has not been exposed to the atmosphere for hundreds of millions of years. And what of the life within? The creatures that would inhabit such an ocean would be unlike anything we have ever discovered. They would have evolved in complete darkness and under crushing pressure, their biology perfectly adapted to the most extreme of environments. We might find bioluminescent organisms that create their own light in the eternal blackness, or massive translucent creatures that have developed senses we cannot comprehend. These life forms would not be a new species. They would be a new form of life, an ecosystem that is completely separate from the one on the surface of our planet. The fossilized leviathans we have speculated about may not have gone extinct at all, but simply retreated to a world where they could thrive without being seen. While this remains a profound and unproven hypothesis, it is one that a growing number of scientists are beginning to consider. The seismic and magnetic anomalies we have detected, particularly in Wilkes Land, could be related to these vast, hidden bodies of water. A massive ocean within the crust would exert a powerful force on the planet's gravity field, and its unique mineral content would create a distinct magnetic signature. The silent hum of the continent, in this view, is not the sound of a simple ice sheet, but the deep, quiet resonance of an ancient, watery world that is still waiting to be discovered. The idea that a continent could be hollow and full of water is a chilling and beautiful thought, one that reminds us that the world beneath our feet is a far more complex and mysterious place than we could ever imagine. A new question emerges from the subglacial oceans and vast hidden lakes we have explored. What if these bodies of water are not isolated at all, but are part of a far grander, more profound system? This is the most radical and myth-shrouded of all Antarctic theories, the hollow Earth theory. It's the belief that our planet is not a solid sphere, but a thin, habitable shell, and that Antarctica's deep ice conceals a secret, magnificent entrance to a world within. This is not a new idea. The concept of a subterranean world has existed in mythology and folklore for millennia. The Greeks had their underworld, and other cultures told tales of inner earth kingdoms. But it wasn't until the 19th century that the theory took on a more scientific form, with early thinkers like John Cleves Simms Jr. and Edmund Halley speculating that Earth was hollow with openings at the poles. The idea was a powerful one, and it found its most compelling and mysterious narrative in the expeditions of Admiral Richard E. Byrd. The hollow Earth theory has been inextricably linked to Admiral Byrd's life and work. In this narrative, his famed expeditions to both the North and South Poles were not just about exploration. They were about finding a way to enter a hidden world. The theory claims that in his secret diary, Byrd wrote about a flight in 1947 where he flew more than 1,100 miles beyond the pole and discovered a vast temperate land. This inner world, according to the accounts, was an Edenic paradise with warm lakes, green valleys, and even prehistoric animals. He described encountering a highly advanced, non-human civilization that lived in a world of eternal sunshine generated by a central sun within the Earth. This extraordinary claim provides a stunning explanation for all of the previous mysteries we have explored. The unexplained aerial phenomena that are so often cited in the polar regions are, in this view, not from outer space but from inner Earth. They are the vehicles of a superior race, the inhabitants of this subterranean world, coming and going from a place we cannot see. The Nazi legacy also finds its place in this narrative, with the theory that German scientists were aware of the entrance and were looking to use it as a last refuge for the Third Reich. The very landscape of Antarctica is seen as a kind of colossal gateway. The massive circular gravitational and magnetic anomalies, like those in Wilkes Land and Vostok, are not just geological oddities, they are the signposts of a hidden interplanetary core, and the energy from that core is what allows a world to thrive within. The polar lights in this view are not just a beautiful natural phenomenon, but are the visible manifestation of a massive, glowing energy source from the inner world, a silent, cosmic beacon that escapes from the entrances at the poles. While the hollow Earth theory is completely unsupported by modern science and is considered a fringe hypothesis, it remains a powerful and captivating idea. It's a story that challenges our very perception of reality, and it is a theory that provides a complete and total answer to every single mystery of Antarctica. It suggests that the continent is not just a place of buried secrets, but a thin, frozen shell, a veil that separates us from a far grander and more beautiful reality. The silence of the ice is, in this view, the silence of a secret that has been kept for millions of years, a profound, peaceful hum from a world that is not above, but beneath. We have drifted through the silent hum of buried cities, felt the pull of colossal anomalies, and imagined the life in a hidden, watery world. But what if the greatest treasure hidden beneath Antarctica is not a physical place at all, but a form of intellectual treasure, a silent inheritance from a forgotten past? This is the profound possibility of lost knowledge, a chilling idea that suggests a complete and utter understanding of science, technology, and philosophy is patiently waiting in the deep freeze. This knowledge is not just a collection of facts. It would be a blueprint for a world that understood physics and reality in a way we are only just beginning to comprehend. The Piri Reis map, with its impossible accuracy, would not be just a cartographical anomaly. It would be a relic of a civilization that had a perfect, global understanding of the planet's geography. It would prove that their knowledge was so advanced that they could chart a world that was free of ice, a feat that would require a level of aerial surveying we have only achieved in the modern era. The pyramid structures and the Vostok and Wilkes Land anomalies would not be a mere coincidence. They would be a testament to a deep and profound knowledge of sacred geometry and planetary energy. This lost civilization may have understood how to tap into the Earth's own magnetic field, how to harness the geothermal energy from the core, and how to use colossal, geometric structures to create a power source that would be limitless. The silent hum of the continent that we've been listening to could be the lingering resonance of this power, a vast technological grid that has been in a state of deep, frozen sleep for millennia. But the most incredible of all the lost knowledge would be the understanding of our own existence. The frozen mummies of animals and humans would not just contain a record of their DNA, they could contain a complete and perfect record of their consciousness. We could find a way to access their minds, to understand their thoughts, their language, and their view of the universe. This would be a discovery that would not just rewrite history, but bring a forgotten era back to life, its entire story waiting patiently in the deep freeze. The form of this knowledge is a mystery in itself. It may be contained in crystalline tablets, in books whose paper has been perfectly preserved, or in a form of biotechnological information that can be transferred directly to the mind. Whatever its form, its discovery would be a moment of profound and terrifying change for humanity. Would we be able to handle it responsibly? Would we use this knowledge to solve our own problems and create a better world? Or would we simply use it to wage a new kind of war, a cold war of technology on a scale we can't even imagine? The silence of the ice is, in this view, a test, a moment for humanity to come face to face with the ghosts of a past that were far more advanced than we are. The lost knowledge is a profound and unsettling idea because it challenges our entire notion of progress. It suggests that we are not the pinnacle of evolution, but a civilization that is slowly, quietly, and painstakingly rediscovering a knowledge that was lost. The hum of the continent is not an empty sound, but the deep, frozen resonance of a time that is still waiting to be taught to us. The question is not what lies beneath the ice, but whether we are ready for the answer. After we have considered the lost knowledge of a forgotten civilization, we can turn our minds to a truth that is not intellectual, but spiritual and profound. This is the esoteric idea that the Antarctic ice is not just a repository of physical and intellectual information, but a living, breathing entity, a form of collective consciousness that holds the memory of a planet. This is an idea that transcends science and enters the realm of philosophy, a concept that asks us to see the ice not as a substance, but as a mind. This theory is rooted in the philosophical concept of panpsychism, the view that mind or a mind-like aspect is a fundamental and ubiquitous feature of all reality. It suggests that consciousness is not an emergent property of complex brains, but is present, in some form, in all things, even at the most fundamental level of the universe. In this view, the vast ancient ice sheet of Antarctica, with its intricate crystalline structure and its immense planetary scale, has become a living mind, a repository for the thoughts, feelings, and memories of a continent and all that has ever been upon it. Imagine what this consciousness would contain. It would be a memory of unimaginable scale, a silent, cosmic library of a planet's history. The ice would not just be a record of the atmosphere from 800,000 years ago, as we've already discovered. It would be a memory of the Earth's own geological processes, its silent tremors, and its subtle shifts. It would remember the Eltanin impact, not just as a geological event, but as a moment of great planetary pain, a memory that is still held in its crystalline structure. It would remember the dinosaurs and the ancient Nothofagus forests, not just as fossils, but as a part of a living ecosystem, a memory of a time when the continent was a vibrant green. But the most profound and chilling aspect of this collective consciousness would be its memory of the lost civilization. The ice would not just be holding a physical record of their cities, but a mental one. It would have absorbed their thoughts, their fears, their knowledge, and their dreams as they went into a state of deep, frozen sleep. The ice would be a silent, empathetic observer, a witness to a civilization that knew its time was running out. This consciousness would be a profound and powerful echo, a silent scream of a world that was erased, its memory now a part of the Earth's own deep hum. The idea that the ice is a living consciousness is not a scientific one, but it is a profoundly poetic and spiritual one. It reframes the silence of the continent not as an absence of life, but as a deep, meditative state. The ice in this view is a sleeping god, a silent and wise entity that has absorbed all of the planet's history and is patiently waiting for the day that we have the spiritual and philosophical capacity to understand its profound and beautiful message. It is a mystery that is not about what we will find in the ice, but what the ice might find in us as we stand upon its frozen surface, a part of its eternal consciousness. In the hushed stillness of the great ice sheet, we've considered the possibility of lost cities, ancient knowledge, and silent witnesses. But a deeper, more profound mystery can be felt in the subtle shifts of the Earth's crust, in the strange, persistent hums that are often dismissed as simple geology. This is a profound and esoteric idea that suggests the very structure of the Antarctic ice is a physical manifestation of a deeper, more fundamental reality. It is a silent, living architect, a crystalline palace of an unnatural design. The idea begins with a new look at the nature of ice. While we see it as a frozen, inert substance, in reality, it is a dynamic, crystalline structure. The atoms within it are arranged in a precise, repeating, and symmetrical pattern. This geometric perfection is a form of pure order in a chaotic universe. The theory of the crystalline palaces posits that the lost civilization of Antarctica understood this nature of ice on a profound level, and they used this knowledge to build not with stone or metal, but with a form of hyper-engineered ice. Imagine a civilization that had mastered cryotechnology to a degree we can barely comprehend. They would not have had to carve and shape their cities. They could have grown them. Using a deep understanding of physics, they could have manipulated water molecules and pressure to form colossal structures of pure ice. These structures would be self-regulating, self-healing, and imbued with a form of intelligence that is beyond our grasp. The palaces would not be cold and lifeless. They would be filled with light, glowing from within like a silent, frozen city of light. The pyramid structures we have already explored would not be simple rock formations. They would be the entry points to this vast, beautiful, and frozen world. The purpose of these palaces would be far grander than mere shelter. This architecture would be a living, breathing part of the planet. They would be designed to channel energy, tapping into the Earth's own magnetic field and drawing power from the very core. The labyrinth of tunnels that we have speculated about would be the veins of this crystalline city, a network of pathways that connect the palaces and allow energy and information to flow freely throughout the continent. This would be a perfect, self-sustaining society that was not built to last, but designed to wait. The chilling beauty of this theory is that it suggests that the most magnificent structures on our planet are not the pyramids of Giza or the temples of Rome, but the silent, frozen architecture of a lost civilization. Their grandest achievements were not of metal and stone, which can rust and crumble, but of ice and light, which can be preserved in a state of perfect stillness for millennia. This is the ultimate form of preservation, a civilization that knew its time was running out and chose to go into a state of deep, frozen sleep, their consciousness and their knowledge preserved in the very structure of their buildings. This profound and beautiful idea turns Antarctica from a desolate wasteland into a frozen dream, a world that is still waiting to be woken up. The silence of the continent is not an emptiness. It is the deep, quiet hum of a living city, a silent symphony of crystalline structures that are patiently waiting to be discovered. This is a mystery that asks us to look at the world not with our eyes but with our imagination, and to listen not for a sound but for a beautiful, frozen whisper from a world that has been lost but not forgotten. In the hushed stillness of the great ice sheet, we've considered the possibility of lost cities, ancient knowledge, and silent witnesses. But a deeper, more profound mystery can be felt in the subtle shifts of the Earth's crust, in the strange, persistent hums that are often dismissed as simple geology. This is a profound and esoteric idea that suggests the very structure of the Antarctic ice is a physical manifestation of a deeper, more fundamental reality. It is a silent, living architect, a crystalline palace of an unnatural design. The idea begins with a new look at the nature of ice. While we see it as a frozen, inert substance, in reality, it is a dynamic, crystalline structure. The atoms within it are arranged in a precise, repeating, and symmetrical pattern. This geometric perfection is a form of pure order in a chaotic universe. The theory of the crystalline palaces posits that the lost civilization of Antarctica understood this nature of ice on a profound level, and they used this knowledge to build not with stone or metal, but with a form of hyper-engineered ice. Imagine a civilization that had mastered cryotechnology to a degree we can barely comprehend. They would not have had to carve and shape their cities. They could have grown them. Using a deep understanding of physics, they could have manipulated water molecules and pressure to form colossal structures of pure ice. These structures would be self-regulating, self-healing, and imbued with a form of intelligence that is beyond our grasp. The palaces would not be cold and lifeless. They would be filled with light, glowing from within like a silent, frozen city of light. The pyramid structures we have already explored would not be simple rock formations. They would be the entry points to this vast, beautiful, and frozen world. The purpose of these palaces would be far grander than mere shelter. This architecture would be a living, breathing part of the planet. They would be designed to channel energy, tapping into the Earth's own magnetic field and drawing power from the very core. The labyrinth of tunnels that we have speculated about would be the veins of this crystalline city, a network of pathways that connect the palaces and allow energy and information to flow freely throughout the continent. This would be a perfect, self-sustaining society that was not built to last, but designed to wait. The chilling beauty of this theory is that it suggests that the most magnificent structures on our planet are not the pyramids of Giza or the temples of Rome, but the silent, frozen architecture of a lost civilization. Their grandest achievements were not of metal and stone, which can rust and crumble, but of ice and light, which can be preserved in a state of perfect stillness for millennia. This is the ultimate form of preservation, a civilization that knew its time was running out and chose to go into a state of deep, frozen sleep, their consciousness and their knowledge preserved in the very structure of their buildings. This profound and beautiful idea turns Antarctica from a desolate wasteland into a frozen dream, a world that is still waiting to be woken up. The silence of the continent is not an emptiness. It is the deep, quiet hum of a living city, a silent symphony of crystalline structures that are patiently waiting to be discovered. This is a mystery that asks us to look at the world not with our eyes but with our imagination, and to listen not for a sound but for a beautiful, frozen whisper from a world that has been lost but not forgotten. All that we have explored, the silent lakes, the ancient fossils, the buried secrets, all of it comes down to a single, powerful idea: the anomaly of the frozen continent. It is a recognition that Antarctica, the Earth's most desolate and pristine land, is not just a place on a map, but an ongoing and profound riddle, a quiet rebellion against everything we believe to be true. We started with the known, with the sheer, monumental scale of the continent itself. But as we went deeper, we found that what we see on the surface is only a thin veil. We looked at the subglacial lakes and rivers, which suggest a world of liquid water and life existing in complete isolation from the sun. We considered the vast gravity anomalies of Wilkes Land and Vostok, which hint at something heavy and dense, be it a massive meteor or something far stranger, a buried installation or a lost city. The historical record, too, whispered its own secrets. The Piri Reis map showed a coastline that should not have been known, a chilling testament to an ancient, pre-glacial knowledge that has been lost to time. The rumors of the Nazi legacy and the secret expeditions of Admiral Byrd revealed a modern-day scramble to uncover a truth that nations are willing to go to great lengths to acquire. The pyramid structures and the sentinel towers that rise from the ice are a puzzle in plain sight, a silent challenge to our understanding of geology and history. The greatest mysteries, however, are the ones that are not physical at all. The very ice itself is a time capsule, preserving not just physical objects but a collective consciousness, a silent memory of the past. It may hold the sounds of a lost civilization, the whispers of an entire era that was flash-frozen and preserved. This all leads to the central, most powerful question. What if Antarctica is not a land of frozen secrets, but the silent crypt of a forgotten civilization? What if the legends of Atlantis and Hyperborea are not myths, but fragmented truths about a world that was erased by a single planetary event? The anomaly of the frozen continent is the idea that all of these mysteries, the geological, the historical, and the spiritual, are not isolated incidents, but are all part of a single, cohesive narrative. It suggests that the history of our planet is far more complex and profound than we can possibly imagine, and that a grand cosmic secret is waiting to be uncovered in the most isolated place on Earth. It leaves us with a quiet, unsettling thought. The hum of the continent is not an emptiness, but the deep, frozen resonance of a truth that is waiting to be heard. After we have revisited the great anomalies of the frozen continent, we are left with a final, profound question. Why? Why are the secrets of Antarctica so meticulously hidden? Why are the clues so fragmented, and why has no definitive discovery ever been made? For some, the answer is that the continent is not just a place of buried secrets, but a place that is actively protected. This is the chilling theory of the Guardians of the Pole, the idea that unseen entities or forces are keeping a silent watch over the continent, ensuring that its mysteries are not uncovered before their time. This idea is deeply rooted in the experiences of explorers who, for centuries, have felt a strange, profound sense of foreboding in the polar regions. They have spoken of a feeling of being watched, of a deep and unsettling quiet that is not natural. This sense of being unwelcome has, in this view, a very real origin. The Guardians are a force that is actively working to keep humanity away from the continent's most profound truths. The nature of these Guardians is, in itself, a profound mystery. They could be a form of planetary consciousness, the silent, living mind of the ice itself, that has deemed the secrets of a lost civilization too dangerous for humanity. In this view, the ice is not a passive crypt, but an active, thinking entity that knows the history of a world that destroyed itself and is preventing a repeat. This connects the idea to the ice as a consciousness and the lost knowledge chapters, suggesting that the continent is a sleeping god that is also a watchful parent, or perhaps the Guardians are not a consciousness at all, but a biological force. The inhabitants of the hollow Earth, or the sub-ice oceans, a race of highly advanced beings who have made the interior of our planet their home. They may have a deep-seated desire to remain hidden from our civilization, viewing us as a primitive, destructive species that is not yet ready for a first contact. The unexplained aerial phenomena that have been cited in the polar regions are not just a strange occurrence. They are the vehicles of these Guardians, a patrol system designed to keep us at a safe distance from a world that is not ours to explore. The strange, hostile encounters that were rumored to have occurred during Operation High Jump could be explained as a direct message from these Guardians. You are not welcome here. The most unsettling possibility is that the Guardians are a form of ancient, automated technology, a self-regulating defense system left behind by the lost civilization to protect its knowledge and its existence from a future that may not be ready for it. The pyramids and the sentinel towers that rise from the ice are not just relics. They are a part of a vast, silent, and automated security system that has been in a state of deep, frozen sleep for millennia. The magnetic and gravity anomalies are not just a coincidence. They are the sign of this immense, ancient technology at work, a silent hum that is warning us to stay away. The idea of the Guardians of the Pole is a profound one because it reframes the mystery of Antarctica. It suggests that the continent's secrets are not just hidden, but are actively defended. It turns the silent, frozen landscape into a cold, quiet battlefield where a subtle, unseen war is being fought. It leaves us with a chilling and humbling thought that we are not the only ones in our world, and that we are perhaps being watched by a force that is far older, wiser, and more powerful than we can possibly imagine. All the mysteries, from the ancient to the anomalous, lead us to a single, powerful conclusion. We are on the verge of a new era of discovery. The secrets of Antarctica, which have been patiently waiting for millennia, are no longer just a subject of myth and speculation. They are the focus of a new global scientific effort, a quiet and determined race to understand what lies beneath the ice before it is lost forever. Today, the work in Antarctica is more technologically advanced than ever before. We are no longer limited to the surface. We are drilling deeper, looking farther, and seeing with an eye that is more precise than anything in human history. One of the most important new tools in this era is robotic exploration. Autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs, are being designed to enter the deep, subglacial lakes. These robots, such as the ones used in the Wizard and Salsa projects, are not just cameras on a stick. They are equipped with sophisticated sensors and probes that can map the lake bed, measure the water's chemistry, and search for the very microbes we have speculated about, all without contaminating the pristine environment. The goal is to prove, once and for all, that life can exist in complete isolation from the sun. But the search goes beyond life. We are now using a new generation of satellite technology to see through the ice itself. NASA's Grace and Gracefo missions, for example, have used a pair of satellites to precisely measure the gravitational field of the continent, providing a clear picture of the immense Wilkes Land and Vostok anomalies. The data from these missions has revealed that the ice sheet is not a static object. It is a dynamic, living system that is losing mass at an accelerating rate. The very act of measuring this change is a form of scientific archaeology, as we use satellite data to understand a planetary event that we can't see with our own eyes. The scientific community is also engaging in a major effort to drill the deepest ice cores in history. Projects like Beyond Epica are aiming to drill cores that are over 1.5 million years old, extending our knowledge of the planet's climate history to a period before the last ice ages. The data from these cores will provide us with an unprecedented look at ancient atmospheres and ancient climates, a silent blueprint for a world that has been forgotten. This new era of discovery is a powerful, peaceful challenge to all the myths and legends we have discussed. The unexplained aerial phenomena are being studied with drones and advanced radar. The pyramid structures are being meticulously mapped and analyzed with satellites, and the labyrinth of tunnels are being searched for with seismic technology. These are not just scientific endeavors, they are the great human quest for truth, a quiet and powerful race to find the answers to questions that have haunted us for centuries. This new era reminds us that the quiet of the continent is not an end, but a beginning. The answers we seek are no longer a matter of myth, but a matter of technology and human curiosity. We are living in a time when the great unveiling is not a matter of if, but of when. And we are the generation that may finally get to see what lies beneath Antarctica's ice. We have journeyed together across the quiet, frozen landscape of the continent. We have peered beneath the veil of the ice, felt the profound pull of gravity anomalies, and contemplated the silent whispers of a forgotten time. We have stood on the edge of subglacial lakes, imagined the bustling life of an ancient forest, and pondered the possibility of a lost civilization that built pyramids and left behind a legacy that is both chilling and profound. We have considered the guardians of the pole, the mysteries of the sky, and the beautiful, haunting idea that the ice itself is a living consciousness. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey. We have seen the incredible, and we have felt the profound. But for all of our questions, for all of our speculation, we are left with one simple, beautiful, and enduring truth: the unanswered question. The silence of Antarctica is a testament to this truth. It is a continent that refuses to give up its secrets easily, a place that holds its knowledge close to its heart. The anomalies and the mysteries are not a weakness. They are a strength. They are an invitation to the human mind, a grand and silent challenge to our imagination. They remind us that for all of our science, for all of our knowledge, there are still corners of our own world that are unknown, still chapters of our own history that are unwritten. We may never know for sure if the whispers in the ice are real, if the pyramids are man-made, or if the gravity anomalies are a sign of a buried city. But the beauty is not in the answer, but in the question itself. It is the question that allows us to dream. It is the question that allows us to wonder. It is the question that reminds us that the world is a far more complex and mysterious place than we could ever imagine. The silence of Antarctica is not an emptiness. It is a deep, vast, and patient hum. It is the sound of a story that is still waiting to be told. The mystery is not a problem to be solved. It is a profound gift to be contemplated. And with that, we can let our thoughts drift into a quiet, peaceful state. If you enjoyed this journey and found a moment of peace, I would be grateful if you would support this space with a simple like or a quiet subscription. It helps this channel continue to explore the great mysteries of our world and find a moment of calm in the chaos. For now, the questions remain, and in that quiet space there is peace. Sleep well, traveler.